Yeah,
Yeah.
he's out there mowing the yard. At least he can mow the yard. Most people are in snow right now. He should learn how to shovel snow. Hey, good morning to all of you out there, and welcome to December the 23rd. Just 2 more days away from Christmas. And I was talking, Rob. I was talking to. There was a girl. She was doing all of our trash. She's one of the like maintenance worker or custodial workers of our building.
Yeah.
And she was telling me, she's like, yeah, this year it's going to be a little bit lighter under the tree.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, yeah, the PCE numbers came in today, and the PCE numbers are not good.
Higher than expected.
Yeah, and this is why, if you're looking, those of you that have, accounts and that really want to look at it, if you look at what's going on in the Dow right now, it's back down again in the red when you opened up this morning. And the reason being, you want to explain it to them?
Yeah. So I mean, I guess the market was really optimistic for the personal consumption expenditure numbers. Basically, the cost that consumers have to spend on goods and services.
So it's costing more money because inflation is so damn high right now.
Exactly. You got to think about it. PCE primarily, is to gauge businesses right now. Well, what are businesses doing? They're raising prices.
Yeah, they have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, the bottom line is this. I mean, they were expecting, I believe, under 4.5%. I think it was at 4.7, 4.8, right? I think for the month of November. I think the month of October is about 5%. So they were expecting a massive, massive decrease in PCE, which, come on now, wake up, people. They can only fudge the numbers or, gaslight Americans for so long.
Right. Hey, there was a song that came out. I hope y'all can hear it. They're doing, major work over next door. Like I said, our studio is going to be opening up soon. We've been kind of like in this closet for a little while doing our little show, just practicing, getting our hands familiar on everything. But when we get in there, we're going to have professional lighting. Not that we don't have it in here.
Maybe it could get rid of our black.
I mean, literally, I hit Santa Claus in the head and all that stuff. But anyway, I want to share this song with you. It came from the Babylon Bee and the Gateway Pundit. Thanks to Steven and them over there. They sent this over. This will make you pee in your pants. And it's called Biden Did You Know? Are you ready for this? Let's play it. Here we go. Hopefully I can play this right. Oh, come on, don't be a screw. Bob, it's not playing. We're gonna start this over. Hold on. We go. Why is the sound not? This is pissing me off. All right. But anyway,
it was worth a try.
Yeah, it was worth a try. But I'm gonna sing it to you, and y'all can sing along with me if you're out there. This song is just too funny. And if you go to the Gateway Pundit, you can find it. But I'm gonna mouth the words. You ready? Here we go. Biden, did you know that your policies would drive us underwater? And Biden, did you know that our policies would trans our sons and daughters? Did you know that your policies will punish what is true? The church that you subscribe to does not subscribe to you. Biden, did you know? Biden, did you know that your baby boy made shady deals in Ukraine? Biden, did you know that your baby boy loves Parmesan and cocaine? True story. Did you know that you shouldn't touch these women like you do? When you sniff the little girl's hair, it's borderline. Hashtag me too. The wall will cease, the debt increase, and the dead will vote again. The crime will leap, the dumb will speak, while we say, come on, man. Come on, man. Biden, did you know that your policies would bring about inflation? Biden, did you know that your policies would one day ruin the nation? And did you know that your policies make Herod's reign seem bland? One day you'll have to answer to the great I am. I am. I am.
What a voice.
Oh, look at he's burning up in flames.
On fire.
That was fire. I love it. Thank you, Babylon D. You know, I wish our sound would have played. It would sure sound a whole lot better than I did. That's for sure.
It just had to be the connection because everything was working yesterday. So.
Yeah, I don't know. There's so many strange things. You may hear, like I said, you probably hear like noises. Our feet have been vibrating, and other things have been vibrating. But that being said, you know, it's just matters of days away. Even though we're just so close to Christmas, after Christmas we're into the new year soon, and I'm telling you, 2023. You know, people will be out there in New York celebrating underneath the apple as the apple drops, and Mayor Adams, Eric Adams, he'll be there, of course, for the apple to drop, and people will be celebrating and everything that one day on New Year's Eve. And then when New Year's Day and the days follow after, people are not going to be celebrating. In fact, they're going to be looking in their checking accounts. They're going to be looking in their savings accounts. They're going to be dreading writing that mortgage payment. They're going to be dreading having to keep paying higher prices for groceries and things like that. Remember, we're just into January, and right now, and you got to remember, and I'll say something here in a minute. You got to remember what Janet Yellen said and Biden said, and that whole administration talked about, that this inflation was just going to be transitory. And now it's gone on, and now they're saying that it's going to last until the end of 2023. And that's not even a guarantee. We see things going all the way into 2024. You want to say something?
Yeah, just from personal experience, right? The house that I live in, I'm renting, and it's not rent controlled whatsoever. And
oh wow,
yeah. So because it's not rent controlled, our rent went up maybe like $800. So we're paying $6,800 now, and it's like for what I'm renting, you know, it's worth that amount. But because we're paying extra $800, I paid double that. Actually, I paid $6,000 for childcare, $6,800 for rent, and all my other expenses.
I mean, $6,000 a year.
No. $6,000 a month in child expenses between Isabel and Hendrik.
Oh, you're talking about food and everything.
I'm talking about just for their school.
Wait, you have the little girl already in school?
She's already in school.
She's not even able to walk.
Doesn't matter. She's still able to go to school. I mean, she's 6 months, so you know,
wow.
At 6 months she can go to school. So that's $3 grand for Hendrix for his school, $6 grand for Isabel, or $3 grand for Isabel. That's six plus 6,800 for my rent. So it's about 12,800 right there. Because of that,
You rich.
we're looking for a new place to move.
Oh, I would say so.
Yeah, we're moving to mid city. So.
Well, yeah, I would think because it's so expensive. Listen,
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
you know, there's
I'm
not
feeling
even
it.
people that can afford. You're lucky, man. 6,000 a month. That's crazy.
I'm just the beneficiary for Ashley because she has such a good job or career and employment that we wouldn't be able to do it if it wasn't for her helping out.
Hey, by the way, Chris, you see that wink, wink, wink? I got your message.
Hey, Chris, I love you, buddy.
We won't go into it, but I love it, and you know what? Probably do the same thing, to me if I heard her. But anyway, you know where I'm going. Anyway, listen. Let me share something with you. The Bank of Japan, BOJ, surprised markets this past Tuesday, easing its bond control policy. And this new policy, what it does now is it allows the Japanese 10-year bonds to rise as high as 0.50% compared to the previous policy of allowing the 10-year up to 0.25%. So the Bank of Japan said that you hear that? It sounds like they're coming through the wall.
It sounds like a little mic.
Yeah, it sounds like Romeo's just laying there, but he ain't sleeping. He's got his eyes wide open.
It's exciting.
You protect me if anything comes through that wall. Anyway, the BOJ said that the policy breathed life into the Japanese bond market. And the Bank of Japan, the BOJ, move was utterly unpredictable and became a shock to the markets.
That's right.
And however, you have the media use this language that connected. What they did was they connected the destruction of Christmas to the Bank of Japan statement. And the Wall Street Journal said that the Bank of Japan, listen to this was their headline, the Bank of Japan steals Christmas. So it wasn't the Grinch that stole Christmas. You're a mean one. It wasn't Mr. Grinch. It wasn't the Grinch that stole Christmas. It was the Bank of Japan that stole Christmas.
You're a mean and rotten fella.
Yeah, you got. Anyway, so Japan stole Christmas, according to the Wall Street Journal. And CNN headlines read, Japan just delivered, listen to this. What you want, babe? The Japan just delivered Okay, good. That Japan just delivered a message that said, and this is from CNN, Japan just delivered a lump of coal. So they had the Grinch, and then they got the
I mean,
coal.
what do you expect, right? You can't keep your interest rates, nominal interest rates negative and not expect your country to
survive,
right?
Yeah, and so Japan supposedly, according to CNN, delivered a lump of coal to investors across the globe. So not just Japan, but everywhere. And Bloomberg's headline said, BOJ blindsides traders to echo Christmas Day shock of 1989. And with all the respect or disrespect to the media, Japan's announcement is not why people are struggling this Christmas. What is it, Rob? The numbers came out today, the PCE numbers.
Yeah,
it's inflation.
Inflation. Come on.
And
now.
guess what? Inflation, I want you to remember this number. This is important. Inflation is a 40-year high. 63% of Americans now live paycheck to paycheck. And a National Retail Federation survey in September found that 43% of Americans cannot afford Christmas this year. And the rising interest rates have brought double-digit losses to stocks and bonds, and Japan's announcement 5 days before Christmas is not why Americans are feeling the pinch this year. Fake news media wants to make it look like it's someone else rather than this Biden administration. It's just
It's what they do. They got to keep the narrative going. They got to make it look like
disgusting, man.
I mean, I think people are waking up for the most part. So they'll come to realization that, hey, listen, it looks like and it seems like that, Joe Biden does not have your best interest in mind.
Absolutely not. Absolutely. And Japan, I'll tell you what's happening is Japan has a severe debt problem that is actually requiring a yield curve control. And yield curve control is an extremely loose monetary policy that Japan's what they call curve control at YCC is a looser policy than the Federal Reserve's quantitative easing. And the Fed uses the quantitative easing to buy a certain amount of bonds. For example, the Fed may say it will buy $120 billion monthly. Well, quantitative easing is a check with the amount that's written in it. In other words, it's just a blank check, and they just write in the amount for whatever dollar amount they want to write it for. And the yield curve control is a blank check policy. So the BOJ, Bank of Japan, buys as many bonds as necessary at whatever price to keep the interest rates within a range. And then previously, the Bank of Japan would buy the necessary bonds to keep the rates between minus 25% and minus 25% with the goal of a 0% on a 10-year bond. So what does that mean? That the Bank of Japan, the BOJ, relaxed the range to extend minus 50%. So the BOJ has utilized the 0.25% YCC policy since 2013. So the Bank of Japan movement is not an interest rate hike, but a policy that is tightening. So Japan is the only top 10 economy that has not raised interest rates this year. Are you following me on this, Rob?
Yeah.
So a Japanese housing crisis is building and actually stressing some of the largest banks in the world. And the BOJ policy has been a constant in the market, totally. So since Japan has such low interest rates, it's a very attractive place for them to get loans. And a significant risk is that 73% of Japanese mortgages are now at adjustable rates. You know what that means?
What's that? Is that like a variable rate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It can go up and go down.
Yeah.
In other words, once you get in, you're just screwed.
Hey, listen.
And let me tell you something else. And the IMF fund, estimates that Japan has $9.96 trillion in assets overseas, with $5.7 trillion of that number in debt instruments. And the IMF suspects that a rise in Japanese rates would expose Japan to the real risk of about $7.3 trillion in cash to Japan. Now, how do you think the markets responded to that?
Well, they're now going back to quantitative tightening. How are the markets going to react? They're either going to go ahead and get annihilated, right? Or there's going to be, a massive change to their quantitative tightening. Listen, to have a blank check policy is idiotic. Who in the right mind would have a blank check policy, right? Who in the right mind, if you're looking to purchase a home, accept a variable or an adjustable rate mortgage, right? Stupidity. That's what it is. It's just stupidity.
That's why a lot of people now that took out mortgages while the prices were low, are now swimming. They're sinking. They're sinking fast. Let me tell you something. The Japanese yen jumped 4% against the dollar.
I
right?
saw that.
And that was the most significant single day movement since 1996 or 95. And the U.S. 10-year bond rose 10 basis points. And these Asian markets lost 2.25%, 2.5%, and the European markets lost 1%. So sell-offs in bond markets happened all around the globe, all around the world. And the Japanese 10-year bond climbed to 0.43%, the highest level since 2015. Now, the market felt the Bank of Japan shift, and now the speculation about the BOJ's next move is being debated, hotly debated, and Goldman Sachs now believes that the new policy is the first step away from, guess what? Negative interest rates.
Yep.
Here we go again. And in contrast, Japanese bank, how do you say it?
Nominal.
Numera does not expect the BOJ to raise the rates. So I am undecided if the Bank of Japan will raise rates. However, now that the BOJ has opened up the faucet, in other words, they've let it run, they will likely increase the water pressure. And, you have to agree with Goldman Sachs that BOJ will continue to take action to actually soften its liquidity crisis.
Well, the issue is this: is like at any time, at any point, at any moment, the bond market in Japan could completely implode.
Yeah.
It could completely implode.
This is why the YCC now is an emergency monetary policy that Japan has used since 2013. And the BOJ announcement of them relaxing a 9-year emergency policy made markets negative. And the media thought it ruined Christmas. And remember this event, because this coming weeks we're coming into will be crucial for the markets. That's why I said, you may celebrate New Year's Day, and you should, because this may be the last time we get to celebrate for quite a while. So change is more predictable market condition, and investors should diversify their portfolios with time-proven strategies to weather any type of storm. And precious metals have a 5,000-year track. We've said this over and over and over, and are essential in a well-diversified, balanced portfolio. And Japan is the third largest economy. Remember I said third. So you have the United States, China, and Japan, actually China, whatever. And it represents 8.6% of the global GDP. And the fragile globalized economy now suffers supply chain disruptions, energy shortages, war, pandemics, and governmental defaults. And there are many crises to go around. However, problems in Japan equal guaranteed problems for the entire global economy. 100%. And markets right now are very, very concerned about the blowback from Japan's shift. And the lesson, Rob, is to be flexible and be willing to change, as the Bank of Japan has showed. Things can change instantly. Change is coming, and isn't it better to be prepared when change comes? Think about that. Change is a coming. 800-753-8534. Again, 800-753-8534. Or you can call me direct at 323-380. No, Ramon, we're not going yet. 380. You can just see his poppy eye. 380-5485. Look, I don't want to say you don't have a whole lot of time, because time is what? You could walk out in the street and get ran over.
Right.
We just never know. But be prepared. Make sure that you have enough assets with actual in-strength value, with real value, that you can exchange for more value later on. What I'm talking about is not a get-rich-quick scheme, by no means. It's a way for you to Protect what you got so that you can fall back on it. And like I said, exchange it for more value later on. Everything that I tell you, I'm not telling you this to scare you. It's it's real. It's real. Just like Rob, I don't know if Wells Fargo, have you heard about this? So Wells Fargo agreed to pay 3.7 billion to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau,
Oh, they're corrupt.
the CFPB.
Yeah, they're corrupt.
Wells Fargo. Oh yeah. And it's concerning abuses that were tied to these bank accounts, like mortgages and auto loans.
They've been at this for a while.
Yeah,
They've been at this for a while.
yeah. And Wells Fargo, hang on, I got to sneeze. Wells Fargo was systematically and illegally adding fees and interest to more than 16 million accounts. Remember when I told you the minute you give your money to a bank, a custodian, whatever, legally speaking, these are all private corporations, and now they have full control of everything that you've given them. And what they give you back is a statement that, however it comes quarterly, monthly, however it's set up, but they send you a statement, and what that statement is it's an IOU saying, I owe you this amount of money, right?
That's right.
And then what they do is they take your money, they put it on their trading platforms or wherever it is that they're putting it into, whatever sectors they're putting it into, and they try to make money off of your money, right? Even the money that's in your bank account.
Of course.
And so this is what what I'm talking about here when Wells Fargo was systematically and illegally adding fees and interest to more than 16 million accounts. And the bank misapplied payments that came resulting in fees. And thousands upon thousands of people unjustly had their vehicles repossessed and homes foreclosed on as a result of the illegal fees of 1.7 billion was a civil penalty. And the other 2 billion was the redress for the consumers. And that was a press release that was sent out by the CFPB. So $3.7 billion to this Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. So I guess they kind of act as like the lawyers for these people. I don't really know, but Wells Fargo, did you know, is the third largest bank in the United States?
Yeah, I was aware of that.
And it's the 16th largest bank in the world.
They're huge.
And Wells Fargo's has a long history of abuses. And the director, Robin Chopra, for the CFPB, said that Wells Fargo's rinse-repeat cycle of violating the law has harmed millions of American families. So in a prepared statement, Chopra detailed some of Wells Fargo's abuses. And he said that in 2015, he ordered Wells Fargo to pay Wells Fargo was ordered to pay $24 million in penalties for its role in illegal mortgages, which was a kickback scheme. And in 2016, it paid $4 million to the CFPB for scamming student loan borrowers. And a few months later, the CFPB fined Wells Fargo $100 million for its fake account fraud.
I remember that.
And in 2018, this is crazy. In 2018, the CFPB assessed a $1 billion fine for illegal fees and insurance practices in its auto lending and mortgage lending business. So Wells Fargo's current violations happened over several years across the company's most prominent product line. And the CFPB detailed 4 areas of gross abuse: unlawfully repossessed vehicles, improperly denied mortgage modifications, illegal fees, and unlawfully freezing customers' accounts. They just froze their account.
Yep.
If you had money in your account, they could just freeze your bank account, and there's not a doggone thing you could do about it. Because remember, you're now under their control because they're the ones that have control over your account.
You know, think about that. I mean, consumers are getting decimated. They're getting blasted. They're losing their homes. They're losing their cars, right? They're having their accounts frozen. And what happens to Wells Fargo? They don't get shut down, right? They don't get the hammer, dropped on them.
No.
What do? They pay a fucking fine.
Yeah, no, and $3-point-something billion.
Where do you think the money comes
guys.
from?
Yeah.
Where do you think the money comes from? It comes from the consumer.
Exactly. It's your money that's actually spending for the fines.
Yeah, exactly.
And let me tell you something else. Unlawfully repossessed vehicles and bungled borrower accounts. The bank systematically misapplied payments on more than 11 million automobile loans, resulting in $1.3 billion in harm to these consumers. And the bank was misapplying payments and then adding fees, leading wrongfully repossessing vehicles. So
this is worse than FTX.
Oh, you'd be sitting in your kitchen. Hey, Mom, somebody's taking your car. What? I could just see it coming out with a frying pan. You get my car, and they drive off with the car. And so the bank did not refund those wrongful fees either when they did it. Bank kept the fees.
Exactly.
So improperly denied mortgage modifications over at least 7 years, and the bank improperly denied thousands of legitimate mortgage modifications, leading to an undisclosed number of foreclosures. Imagine you did everything by the book. You put your escrow payment down. You're living in your home, and then all of a sudden, you get foreclosed on. All you can do is take it to court. You know how long that can be? In the meantime, the sheriff is there moving you out of the house because you no longer own that house. The bank owns it. Yeah. Bank throws your ass out in the winter. Man. So the bank was aware of the issue for years before even modifying its process. And they illegally charged surprise overdraft fees for years. So Wells Fargo charged overdraft fees on accounts with ample funding to actually cover the transaction. So a person was being charged an overdraft fee, and they had plenty of money in their account to cover it, yet they got charged an overdraft fee. I could just imagine. Ma'am, you know me, I'd go berserk. I'm telling you, I had enough money in my account. I got money in my account. Well, sir, you did. Yeah, I did. And then you get passed around. So unlawfully froze customers' accounts and misrepresented fee waivers. We talk about this all the time. A bank can freeze your account anytime they want. If they suspect suspicion of fraud, whatever, legally speaking, these are all private corporations, and you basically lent your money to them. And the bank erroneously froze over 1 million accounts. Imagine you got your money in there for your rent. You got your money for your groceries, and then all of a sudden you wake up in the morning and you can't get your money out. And then you call, and then they start charging fees because you got overdrafts coming in for the check. Holy moly. So customers that were affected by the freeze could not access their money or accounts for at least 2 weeks. Remember that? So what does this mean? What it means is there is an adage. Once is an accident, twice is a coincidence, 3 times is a pattern. Yeah. And Wells Fargo has a history of fraudulent and criminal practices, and in the last 7 years, Wells Fargo has been found guilty of criminal behavior 5 times for whatever reason people continue to trust them with their money. And don't even let me get started on J.P. Morgan Chase. That'll rack your brains. I could tell you things, oh my God. And so Wells Fargo does not own a criminal behavior monopoly. It is widespread throughout banking. So this isn't just Wells Fargo. This goes in everywhere. And Wells Fargo may be the worst offender, or they may be the worst at concealing their deceptive practices. For example, like I was saying, J.P. Morgan Chase, the largest U.S. bank, was fined $920 million after they manipulated the silver price thousands of times. And Bank of America, the second largest bank, illegally garnished portions of 30,700 paychecks without a court order. They garnished people's paychecks. And Henry Ford said, it's well enough that people of the nation do not understand our banking and monetary system. For if they did, I believe there would be a revolution before tomorrow morning. And the truth is that banks can be convenient, but they possess or they pose a absolute and constant intermediary risk. There's always a risk. So whether criminal behavior, high risk speculation, or something else, banks are always going to find a way to separate you from your money. And the best defense against bank rises is only keeping what you need to pay bills in a bank. And precious metals are a great way to store wealth outside the banks in a highly liquid state. So if you want to reduce your risk, give Rob and I a call or any of the other ones in here at 800-753-8534 or 323-380-5485. Or if you're listening and you want to give Rob a personal call.
Yeah, it's 213-466-1283.
We'll talk to you. You know, we'll show you a way out. Romeo, we're not ready to go. We'll show you. I'll show you. You wanna chime in on anything that I just said?
No,
it's true.
I mean,
the minute you give your money to a bank, a custodian, you name it, it's over.
Yeah, we've been talking about this for a very long time. It's much. It makes more sense for you to have control versus losing all control. Or having less control than what you really need. Right. So I mean, this is the whole World Economic Forum agenda. You'll have nothing and still be happy. Right.
Right. You know, in closing, the money for more war in Ukraine just keeps flowing out of the U.S. Congress. And the Senate passed a monster, what they call pork spending package called the Omnibus Bill.
Mm-hmm.
And it was nearly $1.7 trillion. And in that pork bucket was another $45 billion for the money that is being shelled out into Ukraine, whether it's a laundering scheme, whatever you want to call it. Some people call it laundering money, whatever. And they said they need it to fight the invading Russians. Putin is screaming that he wants to end all this, but it's not ending. They need it to continue because this is how they line their pockets. We know this. But not a dime is going out for the invaders on the southern U.S. border. Meanwhile, Putin is now threatening and saying that he's upgrading his nuclear arsenal. Patriot missiles and other munitions are headed to Ukraine. And does anybody in Congress see a problem coming here? Idiots and criminals are in charge of our federal government. And we're seeing more and more and more and more of this all the time. The economy is plunging. The economic signals right now are all the same as they were before the Great Recession in 2008 and 2009. And meanwhile, the Fed is on course to continue to raise rates. And there is no so-called Fed pivot. And there is just a plunge to the downside. And the used car market is reflecting this trend with a massive new way of car repossession. We're seeing it all out there. People are maxing their credit cards. Those of you that have maxed them out for Christmas to either pay your rent, if you had that much on your card, we see credit card debt going up. Like I said, when it comes to New Year's Eve, and you're either under the apple in New York or you're dancing on the floors here in Los Angeles, or you're on the street in Los Angeles, or, you know, you're celebrating New Year's Eve because it's a new year of 2023, it's only going to last for a very short period. And then it's going to be,
Then you're back to reality.
it's going to be really bad. It's not even going to be reality. It's just going to be slap in the face. And you know what? Look. I'll tell you something. Just look at how fast they rushed that 4,000 page. I saw that thing. It was like that big. It was bigger than it was big. The Bible, you have to read it over and over in order to comprehend it, right? Because it's so many pages. This thing, they read it in 1 week, in a matter of 2 days. They didn't even read it. They just signed off on it. And you know, the thing is that it's going to come back to haunt you, your children, all of that, because we, the people, we, the citizens of the United States of America, we have to pay for that bill. God bless you all. Merry Christmas. You know, faith. Just keep the faith. Faith is the substance of things hoped for and evidence of the things unseen. I hope you've enjoyed this. We're going to be back here. We won't be here on Monday, but we'll be back here on Tuesday because Monday is a holiday, seeing that Christmas is on Sunday. Is that right? No, it's Christmas
Something
is
like
on
that.
Saturday.
Christmas Eve is Saturday.
Saturday. And then, I don't know.
I'll be in the office if you guys want to call in.
You're going to be here on Monday?
I'll be here on Monday. I got appointments on Monday.
Oh, then I'll show up on Monday.
Yeah, I'll be here Monday.
All right. I didn't know anybody was going to be here. Yeah. You see? I am the captain of the ship, and I didn't even know that my mateys were going to be on the ship. Anyway, take care. God bless you all. See you Monday.